Today we have Shansan Gong, who is a PhD student at the University of Hong Kong. Shansan's done a lot of impactful work in this field of discrete diffusion, and many of you may already be familiar with some of her works. And today she'll be presenting DiffuCoder, and she'll explain why discrete diffusion is more suitable for coding-related tasks than autoregressive models. So Shansa, feel free to take it over.
Okay, great. Thank you. So first, I'd like to thank Shahu for inviting me to give this talk here. And I feel very glad to be here to communicate with you guys. And this work has been published to the archive at I think it's at the June under the June of this year. So it's been like several months ago.
This year, so it's been like several months ago. Oh, sorry. Okay, just give me one moment. I need to mute a participant. Okay, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So yeah, and I think after the DiffuCoder is released, and there are more and more papers are talking about using the DOMs to the coding task, and also about the speed up inference, and also the post training. So I think it's very good to see that the community has become so active. And today I'd like to give an introduction about this paper, DiffuCoder. And this work is done during my internship at Apple, and this is the main contributors for this project. And the outlines contains the motivation, background knowledge, and also the training pipelines. And the most important part may be the decoding behaviors of the LLMs. I do a lot of analysis, and also another important part is about the coupled-GRPO we proposed in this paper. And so first is about the motivation. So at that time, we have a very simple intuition that diffusion can be useful for the code generation because there are many issues with the autoregressive language model, like it didn't have the bidirectional modeling, and it contains the exposure bias, something like this, and also the sampling can be very slow. So text diffusion here, especially the mask diffusion model here, give us an opportunity to bring this. To change the whole generation paradigm and bring us something new, and we can explore. So here, we may argue that writing code like us, like our human, we are often like doing non-sequential writing. We always do some back and forth refinement. And also, on the other hand, the code data is structured. So we just have a simple intuition that text diffusion can be useful for the coding task. And also, another background is that the development of advanced diffusion models has came out, like the closed models, including the Mercury, the Gemini diffusion, and also the open source community have released the LADA and the Dream model. So here we want to.
Sorry to interrupt you. Are you? We're not seeing any slide update here. Is that intentional or just to make sure?
No, no. So can you see this now?
Yes.
I'm changing the page.
Yes.
So maybe just it's because the display mode will not change the size.
Yeah, this
okay, yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Jihan. Like, yeah.
So I just keeping this mode, and you can change the size. You can see my change of the size.
Yes, we can. Right? We can see you change.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So maybe let's go over this again.
You don't have to like repeat yourself anymore. I think we were able to follow.
I know.
What you're, yeah.
Okay, great. great. And yeah, so let's stay in this page. And yeah, so so here in this project, we have several goals here. First, we want to bridge the gap between the open source models and the closed models, the diffusion models. So, and the second goal is that we want to investigate the decoding behavior of the diffusion LLMs, because before this, there are no such paper about further analyze the decoding behaviors here, especially for the like 7B, 8B models. And the third goal is that we want to match the autoregressive training pipelines. Like for autoregressive models, we have the pre-training, mid-training, and post-training. So for diffusion models here, we also want to build such a whole training pipeline. So this is the goal of the DiffuCoder project. And there are some simple preliminary of the DLMs. So I will talk this very quick. So the text diffusion model families contains the continuous diffusion and discrete diffusion. But currently we are focusing on the discrete diffusion, especially the mask diffusion. And another preliminary here is my previous work, scaling diffusion language models for adaptation. In that paper, we propose two strategy to efficiently adapt autoregressive model to diffusion language model. So the two strategy is that we maintain the shifted operation during the autoregressive training, and another strategy is we use the attention mask annealing to remove the causal mask gradually, so we can smoothly change the autoregressive pre-trained model to the diffusion language model. So we will use.
I have a follow-up question. Sorry to interrupt. So yeah, in this paper, I remember, like, how effective was this, like this annealing strategy for attention? Like, I remember there was some experiments where you maybe I'm misremembering and I'm blatantly wrong, but I think maybe there were some experiments where you said maybe the annealing strategy doesn't really help as much on certain data sets or for certain models.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We conducted the ablation experiment on the small model because at that time we don't have much training computing resources. So we don't have very strict ablation on the 7B model, but somehow we're keeping using this strategy. But for some code base, like for the implementation of the flash attention, it might be different. So for some code base, it could be hard for us to manually change the attention mask for the implementation of the flash attention. So in that case, we will directly not use this strategy, but it can still work for the adaptation.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Thanks.
But we still prefer to use this because in some small experiment, we find that this can help to some certain degree. And so here is the DiffuCoder training. We continue to use this kind of adaptation strategy, and this is our training pipeline. We have several stages here. The first is the adaptation pre-training. We use the open source refined codes pre-training data corpus, and the stage 2 is the mid-training. We will use annealing data from the open coder. So this data is also public and it's in a very high quality. So it could be good to use this data to do the mid-training. And the third stage is the instruction tuning. So it's just perform the SFT, the diffusion SFT on this training data, and for the first two stages, we use the packed and unconditional training, and for the third stage, the instruction tuning, we will use the conditional training, which means we will keep the prompt as a condition, and we will not mask those prompts. And the training results are in this table, as we can see. We find that for the first stage, if we training a lot of tokens, it will harm the final performance here. So we assume that it might be because the data quality from this public pre-trained corpus is not that good. So in the stage 1, we only train the 65 billion tokens here. And in the stage 2, the middle training stage, we find that if we only train 16 billion, the performance is good, but if we further train like 65 billion tokens, the performance can be better here. So so including stage 1 and stage 2, we have in total training 130 billion tokens here. And so during the instruction stage here, we have done 5 epochs instruction tuning. Compared with the 1 epoch training, the performance is further improved, and also compared with the previous model like the Dream 7B and the LADA, the performance is also significantly improved. Okay, go ahead.
Shansan, sorry to interrupt again. One follow-up question. So in the previous slide, did you mention that you fine-tune an AR into diffusion using your other paper? Is that what you do, or you pre-train a model from scratch? Like in the previous slide, slide 11?
Yeah.
Slide 11. Yes. So
yes.
What is adaptation pre-training?
But it's the adaptation pre-training. It means that we use this adaptation strategy to transfer. Also, our model is starting from the Queen 2.5 coder. So sorry to mention this. Yeah. So we are adapt this our coder from the Queen coder.
2.5.
Yeah.
Okay. My other question would be like when you report these numbers, what sampler did you use? Like for let's say stage 1 65p, you get a score of 39 on human eval. So what sampler did you use? Ancestral sampling where words appear at random locations, or?
I think for all the evaluation about the diffusion model in this table, we are using the low confidence remask strategy.
Okay, low confidence remask. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. And you see a drop from 61.6 in row 1 to 39.2.
Yeah.
It's because so what's the hypothesis? Is it because the quality of the data, or is it because it's diffusion? I wonder, like, let's say if you just like, let's say you start from a Quen 2.5 coder and then you just train the model on the stage 1 data, like in an autoregressive fashion. I wonder if you see degradation in performance. Do you have any?
So
go ahead.
Okay. So the initial parameter weights is from a Qwen 2.5 coder. So at first, the adaptation will make the performance drop a lot, and we assume that first the data quality may be not as good as Qwen coders pre-training data, and also. The model still trying to nurse the bidirectional information. So maybe that's why there is a degradation. But compare with the stage 2, which means we have high quality data training. So we train the stage 2 for more tokens, we can see the performance gain. So I think we can draw the conclusion here that maybe the data quality is extreme important for the model training, especially for the adaptation. If we have more and more, but also in a high quality data, I think the performance maybe even could be better. Yeah.
Yeah. And my other question would be, did you try left to right sampling using the stage 1 model? Like from the diffusion model, like essentially doing a random sampling at random locations. You do a left to right sampling because yes, like data quality could be contributing a lot to the drop, but also I have a suspicion that it could also be because of left to right generation. Like maybe if you use left right generation, maybe you could have seen some better number.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
we
I
do
think
see that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think your assumption is I think I not remember it very clearly, but I think I have tried to like the model decoding strictly from the left to right. Yes, and the model can also do better. I don't know if it's better, but the model can generate in the autoregressive way, and it can generate the fluent code snippet. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then my other question would be like, why are you said stage 1, 65 billion, stage 1, 720 billion? Is it like two different checkpoints during your pre-training phase, or?
Yeah, the data amount is different for the stage 1 and stage 2. So stage 1 is we have a large corpus, but the quality may be not good. But the stage 2, the stage 2 data, the unique data of stage 2, I think is only like 16 billion here. So yeah.
Sorry, I meant like so in DiffuCoder, like the first like block, there are two stage 1s, right? Like one stage 1 65 billion that gets a score of 39, and then the other one is stage 1 720 billion that gets a score of 31.1. I wonder, yeah. So what is the difference between those two? Like one is 65, the other one is 720 billion. Is it like different checkpoints during your pre-training phase, or corresponding to that many number of tokens, or?
Yeah, just more number of unique pre-trained data.
Okay. And why do you think the performance drops from 39.0 to 31.1? Like from 65 to 720 billion. Like if anything, the checkpoint at 65 billion should be worse than the checkpoint that has seen 720 billion number of tokens, right? I think okay. Well, my hypothesis is that okay, the model that okay, you're doing low confidence. You're doing some remasking based on confidence. So the checkpoint that was trained for 65 billion token, if you look at the generation, you'll see a lot of like left to right nature because the model is very okay. But again, like you're using the confidence sampling, so the 720 billion checkpoint has lost a lot of has forgotten a lot about the left right generation, which is why you see this, but a drop in performance.
It's not exactly like this because in the later we have the autoregressiveness analysis. Here we can see that at stage 1, if we train more tokens, the autoregressiveness will also increase, which means the model tend to be more AR.
Oh, okay. I'll let you finish the previous. Okay, okay. Yeah. Since you are gonna cover this later, so sorry. I didn't mean to like break your flow. So.
It's fine. So I think we are almost going to there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just
did you want to just
maybe...
like so sorry, like for the instruction for finding sorry, IFT So for instruction tuning models, like, do you have anything to share? So you say Dream plus SFT 56.7, Dream DiffuCoder plus Instruct 5 epoch 7265. Yeah. So any final takeaway from here, or?
Um, Here maybe also I've tried the flexible padding, which means we will pad to the maximum length of this batch. For if we use non-flexible padding, we will pad all the batch to the 2048 tokens. So I think these two SFT strategy can give different downstream performance, but it's like, but we can tell which one is better because it act different for different downstream tasks here. And also for if we train more epochs here, we can get better results. And another maybe not good news about this is that we can compare the DiffuCoder and to the DiffuCoder base model and instruct model. And here is the Queen 2.5 coder plus SFT. So here the SFT is after one epoch of training with the same SFT data. So we can see that the Queen 2.5 coder plus SFT can have uh, a great improvement compared with its base model. So it seems that the diffusion model, the DOM, cannot gain a lot from the instruction tuning. And but for the autoregressive model here, after just simple SFT, we can get a lot of improvement here.
Yeah.
So I think this is maybe an advantage of the autoregressive model here. It can learn the data very fast, but maybe diffusion's advantage is maybe we can train more epochs and continue get the gain from the further training. Yeah.
Nice. And the other question would be, so the flexible padding, you mentioned you don't add pad to, so I mean, ideally when you train a diffusion model, let's say you have sequences of varying length, you would pad the smallest sequence so that it to a fixed length, right? To make it of a fixed length, right? So in flexible padding, you don't do that?
We also do the padding, but the maximum padding length is the maximum length of the current batch, not a fixed number. So it's according to the max length of the current batch length.
Oh, I see. And did you see? Did it help with variable length generation? Because one reason why you would train a diffusion model with varying lengths is so that you can do block diffusion on top of the MDLM model that you train.
Yeah, and not in this one. If we want to do variable length generation, we need either the block diffusion or the variable length training, which maybe we need some special token about insertion or deletion.
I see. Cool. Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we can move to about the analysis part here, and we define the two matrix here, the local awareness and the global awareness. So, here our experiments are conducted in the token by token way. So we will compute the next token. We will compute the next token that we are unmasked, and if the next token unmasked is just exactly the next token compared with the last tokens. So we will like count it as the local awareness here. So it means that if we continue decoding next token, we will get a high local awareness here. And for the global awareness here, we will count the tokens that we unmask the at the early position. For example, if even the last time we decode the end token here, but we will decode the first token here, we will think that the global awareness is high in this case. So over the whole decoding process, we will count how many tokens are like in the global way and how many tokens are in the local way. And we will compute the accuracy here as a score. And usually the high awareness here means we rely on the causal bias and the decoding is less parallel. And so maybe our first question here, we want to answer that how the diffusion LLM decode differently from the autoregressive model. So for the autoregressive mode decoding, we always predict the next token. So for both local awareness and the global awareness, we got the 100%. So for in the both case, the LADA model and the DiffuCoder based model, we are not get the 100% score, which means we are not decoding all the tokens in the next token manner. So it means that the diffusion LM are still more flexible in the generation order. And the second question is that how the different data modality affect the decoding paradigm. So we have compare the code data and the math data here. So for math, we are inference the GSM, and code here is human eval. And we can observe that for the code data, we have the lower mean and higher variance in the global awareness, which means the model tends to produce the later token first, because the global awareness means that the early first token would not be decoded. And the later token will be decoded first. So that's why we can get a relative low global awareness here.
I have one question. So, what does K mean here? Like AR, when you say awareness at K, what does K mean?
The key means that, for example, in this case, we have if k equals to 1, it means the next token, but if the k equals 2, it means the next 2 token. So if the token is in the next 2 token, we will count it. And similarly, the global here is if we unmask the first 2 tokens, yeah, we will count this.
And to get this plots, which checkpoint did you use? Like, is it the one after your pre-training phase, or so the thing that I'm really that I would like to know is, let's say you have 2 different checkpoints. Remember, like the table that you had before, one for 65 billion, 65B, and the other one for 700 something B. My hunch is that the model that was trained for 65 billion tokens was getting a higher number because it had more autoregressiveness. Like that's my hunch, but I could very well be wrong. So in this plot, if you showed,
but we can find that in the next slides. It's not.
Oh, okay. It's not the case.
It's not the case.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think here I'm using the 65 billion tokens checkpoint. 65. Yeah. So I'm also kind of confusing a little bit about this results. We can see that we have trained more tokens and we achieve higher autoregressiveness. And in the meantime, we get the worst performance. So
is it possible? One question: Is it possible that the data that you used is synthetic and generated by autoregressive models, because then the data distribution is biased to causality, right?
Yeah, I think maybe only explanation is that about the training data. I agree with that. Maybe some of the data are generated by the model. Yeah, but I'm not sure. I think most of their data are collected from the web data, and I don't know how many AI generated data are in this corpus, but I think it's about the data quality and the data distribution we use during the pre-training.
I mean, usually in later stages and also during filtering, you use some autoregressive model, right? So there is probably a bias,
Yeah,
but not sure which data you used.
I think this makes
Can
sense.
I ask something quickly?
Mm-hmm.
So regarding the data quality, did you try? So it seems that now when you train on this data, the quality of the model gets worse. But did you try training, like continuing to pre-train the Quen checkpoint in normal autoregressive mode with the same data to see if the performance also drops? Or
The performance, definitely the performance will drop.
do you remember by
I
how much?
didn't.
Or
Yeah, I didn't run the evaluation here, I think, but in my previous work, like in the scaling in this paper and also in some other training experience from my side, using the open source data on this on the very state of the art open source model, the performance will drop because we don't have such high quality public data.
yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm,
Thanks.
mhm. And so for the mid training part, we have the high quality here. So we have more when we train on the more tokens, we get a slightly lower awareness, and meanwhile we have better performance. And also, it is almost the same for the instruction tuning stage, and for the for the post-training stage, the GRPO training, here we can find that the GRPO training significantly lowers the global awareness, which means the model generate like more maybe the model will generate the later part first and the first part of the code. And we also have the visual illustration here about the decoding order. As we can see, if when the temperature is low here, the order is almost left to right still. Because we can see when the k equals to 1, the global or the local awareness still quite high, near to the 100%. So when the temperature is quite low, the order is still very close to the left to right generation. But when we increasing the temperature here, we can find that the generation order are more random or flexible here. They are going to like predict the later part of the code and then back to the previous part, and it's like more parallel, it seems like. And and we also have some evaluation about different temperature here and also about the autoregressiveness. Obviously, when we increase the temperature, the autoregressiveness will largely decrease. And also, we find that the temperature is very important during the sampling. when we're computing the pass at K. So if the temperature is too low, the pass, even we increase the K here, the accuracy will not improve a lot because the model will not generate very diverse response. So even if we increase K, the pass at K will not increase. And but when the temperature is extremely high, at the initial part, the generation quality is not good. So even if we increase the K here, the pass at K will not be very high too. So here even we need to find that there is an optimal of the temperature. So at the optimal temperature here, we can get a very good pass at K curve here, and actually the pass at 10 accuracy here is quite high, and the goal of the post-training, the RL training, is that we can like push the pass at K's performance to the pass at 1 performance. So the pass at 10 performance can reach to like on the human Eval can get like a 87.8 here, which means the model has the ability to generate the correct answer, but it just for different times of sampling, the answer could be different. So the pass at K is not that good. So that's why we want to further study the post-training of the diffusion model. And similar to the autoregressive model, I think the post-training is still very important. And compare with the autoregressive model here, I think our diffusion model is more flexible when we're increasing the temperature. It's not only change the token, it can also change the generation order of the token. So maybe it can produce more diverse samples and give us more opportunity to explore the correct answer here. So here we are going to talk about the GRPO algorithm here. I think before the DiffuCoder, I think you might also know the D1 paper. So the D1 paper are targeting the RL training, also the GRPO algorithm for the diffusion model. I think the D1 is the first paper that proposed RL for the diffusion model. But the training method of the D1 is quite simple, and I think the estimation is not that accurate. So that's why we propose the coupled-GRPO one to improve the D1's estimation for the token probability. As we all know, the GRPO algorithm, the most important part is about the token probability estimation. And for the autoregressive model, the estimation is very important. It's very simple. We can just input the whole sequence and just one forward, we can get the logits of each tokens. So this is very fast and convenient for the autoregressive model. But for the diffusion model, we are usually it's more complicated. We are usually use the Monte Carlo sampling to estimate the log probability of the tokens. And also, remember when we trying to compute the perplexity of a sequence using the text diffusion model, we need to sample the time a lot of times and compute the average or the weighted loss and to get the perplexity. So
question here. Okay, so just to back up, so in GRPO, so you're saying you're given a prompt and then the model generates some solution, right? Be it autoregressive or diffusion.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
GRPO, one requires to compute the log probability of the sample that corresponds to that prompt, right? And in autoregressive models, the way that you would do this is you just sample the response, do a forward pass, and compute the NLL and plug it into that equation where your cursor is, right? Yeah. Okay. And you were saying for like what D1 did was, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're given. Okay, so for diffusion, it is very difficult to do. Like, so you are generating tokens, using multiple steps, and computing the log probability of the entire generation would require doing the forward pass of the response at every time step, which means, so for example, if you generate a response in 100 steps, you would require 100 forward passes to compute the log probability, right? And the way the D1 paper, fixes this issue by saying that, okay, you don't really need to, you just like draw a sample, and you do a forward pass, and you just compute the log probability of the final sample that you generated from the sequence of mass tokens, like on the right, like a sequence of gray boxes. So you sample from the model using numerous steps. To compute the log probability of that sample, you just do a forward pass of those, prompt tokens plus the gray tokens. I forget if you mask out the prompt tokens or not, but you do a forward pass of those mass tokens, compute the log probability of the generated sample, and then that's a very rough approximation, right? Or
because they mask out all the compression tokens, and they can also do the one-time forward because all the tokens are masked, and we will get the log probability of the all masked tokens, and so it's very fast. But the estimation is, I think, is not accurate. So that's why the coupled-GRPO want to solve this.
Yes. Maybe you can explain how coupled-GRPO differs from D1, maybe.
So here we will sample 3 times. So we will have 3 forward, but so we will not involve so many times of the forward, but we will also keep the estimation more accurate. So here is a prompt, and we will keep the prompt clean. And here is a completion, and we will construct two masks here. For example, if we sample a t like 0.6 and the complement time is the 0.4, and if we sample a mask like this, we will get a complementary mask, which means if we mask this token at this batch, for another time, we will not mask this token, and these two complementary masks can be merged into the whole token probability estimation of this batch. So this means that we can get each token's probability here.
Sorry, a quick question. So the thing on the right, why do you, okay, so you're saying you just randomly, okay, so you're given a prompt. The first thing that you do is generate a completion, right? After you generate the completion, you sample a random time step t, let's say 0.6 here. You wipe out some words for one set of examples, and then you sort of retain those words but wipe out the remaining ones in this another copy of your data, right? At the bottom. And you also consider the case when everything is wiped out, the one on the right. The entire response is wiped out. Any particular reason like why you would do something on the right? Like, did it help with did it help with the downstream performance, or is it more empirical, or?
You mean this time of the
Yeah,
sample?
like
It's
P1,
just yeah. It's just like following the D1's
basic.
I mean, yeah, I mean, just make the estimation more accurate. We have these two sample, and we also have the whole mask estimation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because for us, the more times of the sampling, the estimation can be more accurate. So we still keep this because this is very efficient. And we are adding these two because this can give us more accurate estimation.
I see. And one final question, like, can you give a brief overview of how GRPO works? Let's say I don't know anything about GRPO. I don't know what that word means.
Okay.
So can you just briefly explain?
Okay. Sorry. The whole process is that we have a prompt here, and we are going to generate samples given the same prompt. So maybe we will generate 10 samples here, and the temperature can be set very high, so each samples can be very different from each other. And for each samples, we are going to get the log probability of each samples, and at the meantime, we will get the advantage score. We can also regard it as a reward score here. So for the GRPO, the G means the group. So within one group, like we have 10 samples from the same prompt but different response, and we will, like for the code, we will execute the code and see how the code works. Like we will get the success rate of this code, and we can get the reward. And for the math task, is even simpler. We directly exactly match the answer. If the answer is correct, we will give the one reward score. And for the code, we will execute the code in our sandbox, and we will get the pass rate over our test cases, and then we can get this score as our reward. So, and for each sample, for each generation, we have a reward. And some of the generation may be with high score because the generation is good, and maybe some of them maybe it's not good, so the reward is like near to the zero. So we will have this score and have this log probability. So this reward, so the high reward score will encourage the probability of the correct generation. And for those generation that receive the low reward score, and we will discourage the generation of those samples.
Oh, sir, one follow-up question. So what happens when there is sparse rewards? Let's say you generate, let's say you're given a prompt to generate 10 solutions, especially in maths. Let's say your model did not get any correct answer. So how does this algorithm work or fail?
Yeah, so that's what the group reward works. So if this group all gets the zero reward, so this group we can say will not provide positive signals for the training. So the best cases is that within this group we have the good results and also the bad results. So the good result will act like the positive samples, and it will get the positive reward. What we don't want to happen is that all the response is correct or all the response is wrong. So we will not learn from this.
I see. My other question was, in the denominator, I see pi theta old. I mean, from what you described, it seems to me like, you have a model, you generate samples, you feed it into a black box that scores the samples, and then that provides meaningful signal to a meaningful learning signal, right? But
Yeah.
but in the equation, I also see pi theta O. Like, what is pi theta O? Like, or how, like, do you rely on older checkpoints to get more meaningful signal, or?
This is from the old model. So during the RL training, we will update the weights of the model using this equation, and so the old parameters are what we are going to improve. So the advantage score will encourage the model's probability over the old probability towards the direction that
I
we
see.
want.
I see. Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Okay, so and that's why the temperature is very important, because if we don't have a good temperature here, it's easily to sample all the generation response or to have the similar response, so we will not get the positive learning signals. So the temperature here is very important, and it's also important for the autoregressive training. So both for the AR model and diffusion model, the temperature is important for the RL training here. And we have also some ablation experiment compared with the full mask and the D1 here. The full mask is like we only have the P1 here. And the D1 is we are even mask some of the prompt tokens. So we can say the D1 cannot work very well in our situation. And because we are not using the block decoding here. In D1 papers, they are using the block decoding, and maybe it's easier for the model to learn under the block diffusion, because it's more like the autoregressive generation. And so here, compare with the full mask, here the coupled-GRPO have higher better reward learning. And also the decoupled here means that we still have the same number of the forward, but the mask here is not coupled. They are not complementary mask. We will sample it 3 times, but they are not complementary. So we can see the decoupled one here is not very steady the reward curve here. And we also have the evaluation results. And as we can see, the coupled-GRPO here is the best among all of the baselines. And yeah, and also we conduct the similar GRPO training on the Kuhn 2.5 coder plus SFT checkpoint, and using the same RL data, and so I think the relative improvement is almost the same. So I think it's a good sign that the diffusion models can learn using the RL method. And another interesting finding is that when we have the instruction model, which is without the GRPO training, and we have the GRPO training model here. So compare with these two models, if we sample them in 2 times less step, which means the generation speed is 2 times faster, and we will generate 2 tokens at one time. And the performance drop is less than the instruction model. And I think this means that after the GRPO training, our model, as we can see before, in terms of the awareness matrix, the model tend to be more parallel generated. So here the drop is also less, which means the model can generate in more parallel way. And I think this is a good thing for the diffusion model. Yeah, and I think that's in us experiment. And for the conclusion, here we introduce the 7B coder model and for the of the diffusion language model, and we introduce some matrix to analyze the decoding behavior. And the most important part, the findings of our paper is that we find a higher sampling temperature encourage more parallel and non-autoregressive generation. And this is also can benefit the RL training. And I will propose a coupled-GRPO, which works quite well for the diffusion model here. Yeah. And also maybe there are some future work. Yeah, so there are still a lot of space for the diffusion model here, like maybe how to find the optimal generation order, and maybe the model still tend to be the left to right in some degree, but sometimes some tokens tend to be generated in more flexible order. So I think the generation order is quite interesting, and also maybe there are still like space for the multimodal, multimodal modeling and the reasoning things. Yeah, and I think that's all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the great talk. Do you have any questions from the audience? I mean, I guess like we were asking the questions along, like, you know, while you're presenting, but if there are any other questions, let's see. I guess not. I have a question. So when you do this GRPO training, right? You mentioned the sampling temperature during training is also very important. So did you do a grid search across many different sampling temperatures, or and also like how expensive is it? Like how much compute did you spend training these models, especially for GRPO?
So GRPO is fine, but I only train it with one node. And the training, I think for one epoch, it will cost like 40 hours. And
Okay, 40
yeah,
hours.
so at that time, I didn't like search all the temperature here. Yeah, because I think that we can choose the temperature according to this curve, because as we mentioned before, if the temperature, like I think 1.0, 1.2 is good choice, but
I see.
but sometimes 1.2 is better. So I think. Within this range, we can still search for a more accurate choice for the temperature.
And this is for the base model, or?
This is for the instruction model.
Okay, yeah, sorry, yes, instruction model. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Any questions, or? I mean, people. Oh, by the way, like after the talk, we upload the video on YouTube, and on the Discord channel, we have a separate. We create a separate thread for every talk. So people usually like they haven't yet, but we hope that they'll ask questions there, and if they do, it'll be nice for you to answer them there. So if you haven't joined our Discord channel, you should probably at some point. So
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Cool. All right, I guess that's about it, right? All right, cool. Thank you so much, Sansha, for giving a wonderful talk. And we'll keep in touch. I'm pretty sure you're going to put out some exciting papers in the future. So I'm pretty sure we'll see you again soon. All right.
Okay. Thank you for the invitation, and have a good holiday.
You as well. Happy holidays, everyone.
Okay.
Bye. And then when we meet next year, we will have a different schedule. So we'll be starting three hours later. All right. Bye.